Welcome back. So this question is taken from LeetCode, and this is I really like this problem, so I just thought of putting a solution here. Uh, Let us assume that we have a company called as Uber, okay, and Uber has various clients. Use in the form of user. It also has passenger, and it also has driver. And so first table on the right is about a particular ride that is taken by a passenger, and so we have been given this ride id, first column, then we have client id, that is passenger id, then we have driver id, and we have city id, and then we have status that whether the ride is cancelled or not. If it is cancelled, whether it is cancelled by driver or it is cancelled by the passenger or the client. And then we also have date as well, that what that the a particular ride was taken. On the left side we have user id, and one column in which we have both user and driver. As you can see, 1 to 4 is passengers id, and that is client id, and 1 to 110 to 113 is a driver id. And then we have been given whether that person is banned or whether he is not. Then we have a role in which whether that person is client to driver. So what we have to do, actually we have to on a particular date we have to tell how many trips were got cancelled, and what was the total number of trips on that day. And on the basis of that we have to find out what is the percentage of cancelled ride. Let us go ahead and see how we'll approach this question. So I'm gonna switch over to my notepad and copy the data from here. All this data is available to you in the description below. You can copy it from there and follow along. Here's the SQL, and I will just paste everything. So let us have a quick walkover. So we have a trips table and users table. So first thing is, obviously we have to go ahead and drop everything, drop pre-existing table. So first table we are dropping is trips, then users. So we have done this, and then we will create the table trips and the user. In the trips table we have the first id, that is integer, that is trip id, and then we have client id, then we have driver id, both these are integer. City id, it is also integer, and then we have status, whether the status is cancelled. If it is cancelled, then it is cancelled by driver or driver by or cancelled by client. Then we have date of that particular trip. Then in the second table we have first id, user id, in which remember that we have both passenger, that is client, and driver. So both this category of people are in one column. That is the significant part of this question, and that is what it makes it so tough. Okay, so let us go ahead. Of course, and then we have banned, whether the person is banned or not. That is the second column. We can just reduce the length here. I don't think 50 is required. Let us keep it as 10. I'll just put 10 everywhere. Run everything. So I have dropped the table, then I'm creating the table, and then I'm inserting the values here. Right, here it is, here it is. So just to make sure everything works fine, let us select everything from trips table, and here it is. So it works just fine. And then we select everything from users as well, just to see. Yeah, so this works right as well. And so let us go ahead, and first thing is to join everything. So while joining we have to be very careful here, because we don't have two separate columns in users as we just saw. So let us go ahead and see how we'll approach this column. So we'll select everything from trips, and then we'll make inner join, okay, in users. So I will just do users on let us call users as C. I'm going to put an alias here, and so this will be C dot users ID equal to trips, and let us just put alias in trips as well. I'm going to call this table as T, and so this will be T dot client ID. Okay, and then I'm going to join again, because remember, if we see this table, this client ID, this is 124 1234 1234 and all that. But if you see driver ID, these are different IDs altogether. So first time I have taken this column, second time I will take this column. Okay, so let us go ahead and do inner join again. Inner join users. This time I'm gonna call this ID as D. This table is D rather. So this will be D dot driver, is it driver ID equal to T dot client ID, right? So let us go ahead and run this first. Okay, so there's some error here. Okay, so we have made a mistake here. This should be D dot users ID, and this should be driver ID. Okay, now that this table is here, we have to see on a particular date how many trips got cancelled. For that, we'll do group by date, and after that we'll select the date column, and then we'll take a case when status is cancelled by driver or cancelled by client. If that is the case, then we'll take make it in a separate table. We'll count it and make it in a separate table. Okay, so let us go ahead and do that. How we'll approach this? First thing is to just put date. This will be case when status. Remember that we have cancellation from both part, one that is cancelled by client and one which is cancelled by driver. Okay, so this will be cancelled by client, right? And it also includes one which are cancelled by driver. Okay, and this will be then 1 else 0. No, this will be else null. We forgot here in status in. Okay, if we run this, here it is, right? So we'll have to put this in a table. So let us go ahead and do that. This will be count, and we'll call this table as cancelled trips trip count. Okay, we have to also put group by function here, and let us go ahead and run this now. Now we have got cancel trips. We also want total trips. So for total trips, it is very simple. Just put 1, count 1 as total trips. Okay, if I run this, we'll get total trips. Okay, right. So next thing is we have to also calculate the percentage Okay, how many trips got cancelled, we have to show that in percent. We will do this column divided by total trips. Let me just copy this. Okay, and I'm just going to remove alias divided by count 1. Okay, so this will be count 1, and this will be cancelled percent. Okay, rather let us call this as cancelled trips percent, right? So if you run this, we'll get this. To convert this in percentage, we have to multiply this with 100. Okay, so let us run this again. Okay, here we go. So we have now the date column, in which we have cancelled trip count as well. So there were 2 trips cancelled on one on second, on one, and one on third, and total trips were 433 and 4, 3 and 3 respectively. This is it. If you like this video, please press the like button and subscribe to the channel. See you next time.